you're literally like your mental and your your brain, obviously, but like I'm like losing the word, but it's like all your mental capacity is focused into like a place, a space, a time, a character. And then all of a sudden a call comes in and you're like, record scratch.
Yeah. We've got a lot on our plate at the moment, Ben.
We do. I actually this episode exhausted.
I saw that. How many projects did we realize we had? We actually made a spreadsheet before lunch, didn't we?
We had to make
projects in various states of development.
We were
writing only. Let's not talk about producing. Writing only.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you just consider things that are relatively active, there's 12 things. Additional development.
Yeah.
You could go up to 15, but 12 things that are active right now. You know, the thing is, and I think it's important to talk about just like what that actually means.
Yes.
So there's all different stages in the development process. When people say it's in active development, it could mean a million different things. And that's anywhere from like what you do as a screenwriter before the sale or before setting it up somewhere. You then, once it ends up at wherever it's going, and all the various stages of active and non-active development.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know, I think anytime you have a project that is, even if it's just inching along, that's active development. And that can be you've been waiting a few months on something, or it can be it just landed in your lap yesterday. It can be projects you're putting together pitches for, speccing, shopping, going out to studios, waiting on actress or actor or producer reads.
It
can be
just all that stuff,
really like cracking ideas, and you've just come up with something and you've just started to break that down. All of those things are active development.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's one project on there, our TV project, that we're going to be taking out next month or the month after, very soon. And it doesn't require like daily work. The pitch is ready. We're just trying to attach some other elements, but it requires a kind of a maintaining of energy.
Just checking in. We've been doing things in terms of we're trying to do some attachment work, and we've been sending emails, and it's
not like you can just go done.
Right, it's still there. It still takes up a piece of your kind of mental storage space.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah, I mean, we have stuff on our active development plate dating back, I think. Well, you really want to do that.
You really want to do that.
You could go all the way back 16 years.
You could.
Right?
Could.
I guess not 16. Well, technically speaking, 16, right? Or you could go back 10
or 12.
But really, I mean, realistically, it's about 2 years. The longest we have on like really like active development right now, we've been working on for 2 years. And then we have a couple that are in the year plus mark.
We
have a couple, and then we have like 2 things that were like from last Friday. So, although one of them is technically old active development, so it's That's another thing about development is it cycles. So, I mean, that's the weird part is you could go from having 3 projects on your plate to having 8 projects on your plate in the space of a day. And then the next day that could drop off to 2 projects on your plate.
And
it all depends on where it's at and what's going on with it. All of a sudden, something from the past just goes it is right at the very top.
Completely.
And then something that you thought was going to happen tomorrow, something changes and it gets pushed all the way to the back.
Absolutely right. And it's weird like that. I was telling you earlier, and I tweeted it earlier. Cole Haddon, screenwriter Cole Haddon, he does this great series over on Medium. If you haven't gone to go and check it out, you'll find a link on my Twitter at Jake Thornton, or you can just Google him at Cole Haddon. And he's doing a series of things over on Medium, which I'm not overly familiar with, but he's been talking about his development and sale of his Dracula TV show that had a Jonathan Rhys Meyers in it in 2013. And he was talking about how it felt like he wrote an email in like February, coming up with this idea for this thing, and then nothing happened with it. Too long didn't read. In September, he got a call one day saying, "We've sold your show." Right? And it was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm anticipating episode 2 of that, because it sounds like a horror story, not just because it's based on Dracula. But right. Anyway, but yeah, like some things happen like that. They just go bam, and then
I mean, and you just never know. And obviously, like, I think you should always be adding new things to the list 100%. As frequently as possible. But it's tough to juggle what you're going to work on when. And I think, we talked about this 2 or 3 episodes ago in terms of like trying to your output and what you're capable of doing and how many hours there are in a day.
Totally.
And you can't work on everything every day.
So what did we do this morning? I really like, and we've used this several times, and I really like this, and it requires bringing an honesty about how you feel about a project to it as well, which is enlightening, because maybe like, oh, I didn't realize I felt that way about that. But we were grading the 12 projects we have in active development by super high priority, medium priority, and slightly less priority. 1, 2, or 3. And we went through.
And there's different things that go into that, aren't there?
Yeah, there are.
Passion is one thing.
Passion's one of them.
But the reality is, it's rare that you have, or I think that you should have, a project in your active development slate that you have no passion for at all.
No,
I mean, interestingly enough, you might have one that is just a job. You might have that, and everybody needs a paycheck, and no one will. I'm not going to say anything specifically, but we've done paychecks as well.
Totally. And also, there's benefit in it. There's passion about paychecks.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. If it's like, oh, cool, that's my living for that period of time, or that's that thing that I really want to do, or invent, whatever it is, like, it's important to get paid.
And while that is not a paid, like your paycheck job, if it's not literally, if you're not under contract, it's usually on the lower priority scale, unless you're really, really like, I need this money, like right now.
Sure.
But like, if you're in the process of like figuring it out, and maybe you've already accepted a deal or whatever, that kind of goes to the lower bucket, because you're really talking about, when we're talking about priorities, we're talking about like, what are you spending your hours on today,
or this week, this month, over the next 3 months.
And then you kind of have to look at it, don't you, and go, well, there are some things that are going to fall to the bottom because there's just not much you can do. Like, even though they're active, it's the producer has to do their job. Sometimes you're waiting for notes. Sometimes you're like waiting on a contract to be finalized.
Totally.
And that could take months. It could take 3 months. It's still active, but can't be on the top of the priority list.
Absolutely. But as soon as that contract's done,
then it right up to the top. And that's the juggling process.
I know.
I've got to jump right out of this world, because as we know as writers, you're literally like, your mental and your brain, obviously, but like, I'm like losing the word, but it's like all your mental capacity is focused into like a place, a space, a time, a character. And then all of a sudden a call comes in and you're like, record scratch. Like, okay, now I have to jump into this world.
But
what would you say, Jake? Hours. What puts something at number 1? If you're
that's a great question.
Ours 1, 2, and 3.
So let's talk about what some of those things are. So
number 1.
So again, it's a combination of factors, as you said. passion is one of them. How passionate am I about writing this particular thing? And that may be, I'm really passionate. I'm somewhat passionate. I'm less passionate, but I'm still passionate. But it's, that is absolutely part of it.
Sure.
And as part of that, the caveat to that is it's always very easy to have the shiny new thing. Oh, that new idea we just had. Oh, I'm really excited about writing that. And I do absolutely have that going on in me at the moment. I've got 2 ideas that we are both excited about that we can't write right now, but we really want to. But that's part of it, passion. Then what are the attachments like that you already have? We already have a producer attached to several of our projects. Some of them are scripts, some of them are ideas, but that they're already like, yeah, we want to do that with you. So that makes something more real. Money, as we were talking about a second ago, is this a paid
under contract? Yeah,
under contract. You got to do it. There's a deadline. Those are the 3 that immediately spring to mind. Anything else you want to add?
I mean, as far as things that go to number 1, sometimes you have a ticking clock in terms of your IP.
You may have a shopping agreement. You may
have a shopping agreement on it, and you may only have so much time to do something. Sometimes, as we had with a project, you're reacquiring an old piece of material, and you only have so much time. So ticking clocks definitely push things up to number 1, because obviously if that expires, you don't get to do it. And then, sometimes I think it's also, how close are you to the finish line? If I have something that is really close, like all we need to do is go out. I mean, we have, you mentioned our TV pitch that we'll be taking out very soon. That's like, we're there. We just need to take it out. So that's like a top priority. Whatever we have to do. And this is something also, I think, people that may not fully realize about screenwriting is like, just writing it isn't your only part of your job. Like, you have to also collaborate with the producers, with your agents. You have to be the one pushing. There's no one that is going to push harder for your project than you. And so little things like checking in and going, hey guys, did the submissions go out today? Hey, here's directors that we think might be right for this. Can you check on their availability?
Absolutely.
You have to be proactive about that. So even though something like, if you have a TV show or a movie that is literally like, the pitch is ready, the producers are happy, you still have work to do. And that work may be just essentially producing. It's the putting the pieces together to go, okay, are we ready? Are we going out? Has everything managed to fall into place yet? And that can take a while. So
it can.
I think that it's interesting. There's so many different parts of a screenwriting career, it's that you sometimes forget that it's not just about putting words on a page.
Right. And I think that was a real learning curve for us when we first broke in. It was, there's a lot more to this.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's entrepreneurial.
Yeah, it is.
You have a business, and there's a lot more that goes into it other than just making your product.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the making of the product is the thing that we love the most.
It is.
This is why we do it.
That's what we're doing on this podcast.
And that's what we're doing on this. And the nice thing about this podcast, this is one of our active projects right now.
This is one of our active projects. Yeah.
And every day we get to spend an hour with our cameras on and work on this.
Absolutely.
And it's good. It's a good piece of development. And
at the end of it, we'll have a half decent script to take out, show the world.
Hell yeah. A great script. Fuck half decent.
Sure. Great script.
Come on, dude.
Do it. Sorry.
All right.